quickly as just a round robin as we go through some of these overhyped trends that I see in the media all the time. What are your thoughts on quantum computing? Obviously, there's got some academic use cases at large research universities, but for the regular everyday enterprise, what do you think quantum computing is? Does it have any place?
No, I will say if blockchain is still hard to embrace, quantum computing is even harder, and it's still not really the value. I will say the problem is trying to present what can be the benefits, what can be the value from the enterprises, and from enterprises we don't see value actually from a quantum computing yet.
Excellent. One last one before we get back into reality. How about this one? You might feel differently about. I've been hearing a lot about augmented analytics or NLP addition to analytics. So when it comes to ingesting different type of analytics and using them, do we think that's closer from an enterprise application?
Yes, that's something that you say it, and you know it actually how the market. And I will say that that's something that goes along with my trends that I mentioned around really customer experience, for example, or developer experience. NLP is something that is enabling actually that part of that augmented services that we want to provide. And that's a hype that many companies are embracing with virtual agents, for example, all this kind of actually automation that you try to do. So that's something that is a hype and is going to be continue actually taking more momentum. Something that is creating a little bit friction and resistance actually is the nature that many of these technologies, or in this case, NLP, for example, can be considered as a threat from a job stability perspective. And what we try to convey from the enterprise point of view, for example, in my case, is not a threat. It's really an augmented way to help actually provide better services with less friction.
All right, let's just go right into your top trends then, because that's where I kind of want to spend the majority of it. And as we dig into them, Glenn, I would also love for your opinion on which vendors are well positioned for these trends heading into next year, and also which vendors maybe these trends are moving away from. So let's start. Well, I'm going to ask you. Right now, I've got our big data and our analytics sector up, but we could start more at the database level if you'd like. We could start more at the infrastructure where some of the dev tools are. Where would be the best place to start to kind of dig into your DevOps, your customer experience developers?
Yeah. We can start in what you have right now, okay. For example, around really what is the analytical piece and how that has been moving along. We can go from the database perspective, for example, there has been a lot of trend and changes around really the adoption around master data management. Let's put in non-SQL versus SQL or transactional type of components. For example, what MongoDB has been start doing that evolution and changes that we as a company, so we as an enterprise, one of the biggest problems that we see all the time is how we manage that infrastructure or that administration, and how companies has been moving along to less friction. Let's try to do database as a service type of capabilities. Mongo has been doing an excellent job in that perspective. Then I will say CockroachDB, for example, how they have been actually taking momentum. Mongo in the non-SQL, Cockroach in the SQL space, providing this kind of single point of view and easy administration and resolving the problems around scalability that we have. So those are the two big ones that I will mention in this area from a database perspective that gets me excited how everything is moving. Then in the database, we can put in the data warehousing component. So the data warehousing services, it has been a really nice battle between Databricks and Snowflake, for example, between these two players. I always mention when I talking about these two players around going in a collision course because they trying to get into their market. Some of them are more in the data warehousing, some of them are more in the data science space, but everything at the end goes around really big data and how that analytical is going to be serving. So those are two that always keeps me excited at the same time. And then if we bubble up a little bit more higher from that perspective, there is this big trend that I see that we are taking from our companies around data centralization and data federation type of components. So that's mean what Informatica, for example, is delivering in the MDN space, in the analytical components. versus what really, for example, data mesh type of capabilities that is going in that perspective that we can put in a Starburst, for example, delivering this kind of data mesh framework type of strategy. So we as a companies, what we are trying to achieve is going to this concept around real-time analytical perspective. We cannot wait anymore from a batch processing. So how we can do a really nice balance between master data management or data fabric type of strategies, that Informatica is really well positioned in that perspective from my point of view, or what really we can do in the data mesh more from a data virtualization, what Dinoro historically used to do it, and now, for example, Starburst is delivering that capability. So those are the big players that I keep looking in this space itself.